Our project was on genetically modified food.
Okay, so this is Tala, and I'm gonna start with the introduction. Genetically modified foods are used to create crop plants for animal or human consumption using the latest molecular biology techniques. Genetic engineering can create plants with the exact desired trait very rapidly and with great accuracy. Some desired traits that have been enhanced are increased resistance to herbicides and improved nutritional content. Plant geneticists can isolate a gene with the desired trait and insert that gene into a different plant.
This is Alex. Some of the methods used for genetically modified foods include bacterial carriers, which is using transformation to put a desired trait in the plant, just like we did in class. Biolistics is when DNA is attached to microparticles and then shot into the cell. Electroporation is when you electrically shock the cells to make them more willing to accept new DNA. Gene splicing is removing a part of the DNA in one cell and putting it in a different cell. Gene silencing is an unwanted trait is turned off and then inserted into a new DNA cell. Microinjection is injecting DNA into an egg so the new organism cells have all have the new DNA. Viral carriers is using viruses to infect cells, causing them to take in the new DNA. And now how you actually do genetically modified foods is you take the nucleoid and the plasmid, and then you kind of put them together using the foreign DNA with gene of interest, and you insert it at the site at which restriction endonuclease enzyme cuts into the plasmid. And then you can see the recombinant plasmids right here, and it's introduced into the plant into culture. The inserted tDNA integrates with the plant chromosome, and then you get the regeneration of plant with the new trait.
The pros of genetically modified food is that they're pest resistant. Growing GM foods can help eliminate the application of chemical pesticides and reduce the cost of bringing a crop to market. It also has herbicide tolerance, so plants genetically engineered to be resistant to one very powerful herbicide could help environmental damage by reducing the amount of herbicide needed. This can reduce production costs and limits the dangers of agricultural waste runoff. They are also disease resistant. With genetically modified foods, plant biologists could create plants with genetically engineered resistant to diseases. There's also cold tolerance. Plant biologists could insert an antifreeze gene into plants so that these plants could tolerate cold temperatures that normally would kill unmodified seeds. Drought tolerance / salinity tolerance. This will help people grow crops informally in hospital places. Nutrition. If crops could be genetically engineered to contain additional vitamins and minerals, nutrient deficiencies would be alleviated. Pharmaceuticals. Researchers are working to develop edible vaccines in tomatoes and potatoes. These vaccines will be much easier to ship, store, and administer than traditional injectable vaccines. Phytoremediation. Plants such as poplar trees have been genetically engineered to clean up heavy metal pollution from soil.
That was Emma, by the way.
Oh yeah, this was Emma.
Alright, the cons of genetically modified food is that there is unintended harm to other organisms, meaning like pollen from BT corn could cause high mortality rates for other organisms. Another thing that can happen is reduced effectiveness of pesticides. Insects can become resistant to crops that are genetically modified, and that will produce their own pesticides. Also, there is gene transfer to non-target species. The herbicide resistance can go into weeds if crossbreeding occurs, and possible health risks such as new allergies occurring from a new introduced gene can happen for human health. So there is unknown effects on human health. since some genetically modified foods have proven to be toxic to some mammals. And some economic concerns conclude that these foods require a lengthy and costly process. The price of seeds will rise so high that small farmers in their third world countries will not be able to afford seeds for genetically modified foods.
And that was Kayla. Okay, so I'm going to talk about results, and this is Tala. Genetically modified foods can withstand frost, herbicides, disease, and pests. Although test results state that genetically modified foods are harmless, many people claim that there are negative effects from consuming them. For example, like food allergies, the new proteins could elicit an increase in the immune response, or toxicity, which cause the plants to produce a higher level of toxins. Decreased nutritional value. Proteins make nutrition indigestible or blocked. Antibiotic resistant DNA in plants can transfer to the cells in the consumer. Test results claim that genetically modified foods are harmless, but there's more testing going on looking into the negative effects on consumers.
So our overall group opinion, and this is Kayla, is that we support the idea of genetically modified foods, but there needs to be more research on the long-term effects of these foods on humans to make sure no harm is inflicted on the people eating them. If human health was not affected, then genetically modified foods would be great for sustaining crops so they last longer and for protecting crops from environmental factors. And that was our project on genetically modified food.